Okay, so now check it. My name is Glyzkore, or Gotti, please enjoy yourselves, and today I wanted to talk about 5 meta-defining moves, 5 moves that change the way we play Pokemon forever, or for at least a couple of formats. The moves we are about to talk are reaching as far back as the 4th generation, and where the competitive Pokemon really took a left turn or I think a right turn, actually a really right turn, where things just started going right with the special and physical split. I think that's where competitive Pokemon really started to get good. Anyway, so sorry for that little click there. I want to talk about these 5 meta-defining moves, or a short history lesson by me. And let's go to the first move. Can you already guess by the transcription of the sounds that it makes what move I'm talking about? It's of course Draco Meteor. Now introduced in 4th generation, dragon types really got a huge buff with this very strong dragon type attack that works like overheat, was I think even stronger than overheat. And yeah, Draco Meteor, especially in the 5th gen, was ruling the metagame with the Dragon Gem, just picking up knockouts left and right. It was incredible how strong this attack is from a type that is only resisted by steel types, so you basically hit the field neutrally, all Pokemon that aren't steel types neutrally. The fairies didn't exist back then, so it was just mind-blowing how much damage you could dish out with a Dragon Gem Draco Meteor. So much so that a lot of Pokemon decided to invest in special defense more than in physical defense, and the metagame really shifted into a especially defensive one, so that people would actually run Psyshock. Nowadays, barely anyone uses Psyshock anymore. Yeah, I think the shift from using Psychic to Psyshock in Gen 5 really shows how meta-defining that move Draco Meteor was, because people were just using more specially defensive Hitmontop left and right, more specially defensive Zapdos left and right, and a lot of other mons that would be invested in special defense instead of defense. That was probably in a metagame that wasn't that heavily influenced by Intimidate. Of course there were Intimidate mons like Salamence and Arcanine, but they weren't used as much because in 2012 Landorus Darien didn't exist already. So yeah, Draco Meteor, really metagame defining move, especially with that Dragon Gem at its hand. So I really wanted to put it at number 5 over here. Of course these attacks aren't in any particular order, they are just 5 moves that I thought would be worth mentioning here. The next one, can you already guess which move it is by the transcription of the sound? I will say that by for every move that we are going to be looking at. It's of course Trick Room, also Tailwind. Speed control really is an important thing, and before that we only had Thunder Wave, String Shot, already said Thunder Wave, but Icy Wind as a means of speed control in the 3rd generation. But with the 4th generation, Trick Room and Tailwind were introduced, and let me tell you, this really changed the way people would play. Slow mons suddenly got actually good because they could, thanks to the inverted speed tiers of Trick Room, they could work their way around their deficits. And yeah, I think Trick Room is really important in the metagame's history, because how can I say it, it's some of the best teams ever relied on Trick Room, or had a portion of the team which had a Trick Room option. And I don't know what to say, man. Trick Room is just so good that I had to put it on the list, and it really changed the way we play. There are a lot of teams which try to focus on Tailwind or Trick Room. There are a lot of teams that try to disrupt Trick Room and Tailwind, try to fit on a taunt simply to beat Trick Room or Tailwind. So that's how, I mean, using moves. We elaborated that already in the beforehand in the other option on the other number 5 spot slot, whatever, with Draco Meteor. If a move forces you to run something, that's a metagame defining move, and yeah, or at least a defining move in the history of the metagames that we had ever since 2010 or 29 or 28 even now that I think about it, because VGC started in 2008. That's what I want to say. Yeah, so Trick Room at number 4, really important move. Without it, I don't know what we would do without Trick Room, honestly. Everyone would run Icy Wind and Thunder Wave, and it wouldn't be as good as the metagame. The game wouldn't just feel the same as without Trick Room. So number 3, can you guess what move Ryushi is? It's Geomancy. This move, man, although only one Pokemon gets it, it's a metagame defining move. It's as simple as that. The whole of 2016 was forced or centered around Geomancy Xerneas. You had the big 6, which centered around setting up Geomancy Xerneas and having 5 mons that support Geomancy Xerneas by different means, like countering the Geomancy Xerneas counters and such, abusing the Dark Void and such, and using Steel types and Primal Groudon. The whole of metagame of 2016 really centered around this one move, and you couldn't. And it's just a win button, this move. Geomancy is just a win button if you haven't got a Steel type with Gyro Ball or a Steel type with any other strong Steel type attack. It's just that strong that people in the metagame where the Xerneas is allowed, they need absolute what's it called? The necessity of a Steel type has increased largely. Also, people started to run a red card. Imagine that. Simply for Geomancy Xerneas, they started to run red card Pokemon. They started to run Roar more, or Whirlwind, and a lot of different strategies to get around the Geomancy Xerneas. It's really mesmerizing how much of an impact this one move could make, even though it's only learned by one Pokemon. And talking of which, can you already guess which this text transcribes? It's also a move that is learned by only one Pokemon, or actually 2 Pokemon, because Smeargle isn't really the OG of using this move, but Dark Void is such a metagame defining move, especially in the doubles metagame where it puts asleep both Pokemon on the opposing team, that it was banned for I think 3 years it was banned, or maybe even 4 years. I'm not certain on that, how many years it was banned, until it came back in 2014. Wasn't used that largely, and 2015 hasn't seen a large usage of Dark Void except in the end stage of the metagame, and then in 2016 it certainly had its peak, where people wanted to quick ban Dark Void on Smeargle, or just Dark Void in general, and Dark Void got a nerf in not just decreasing its accuracy, but also not being able to be used by any other Pokemon than Darkrai. So Smeargle cannot use Dark Void anymore. It's just such a menacing move, Dark Void. Putting asleep 2 Pokemon in one turn, it's just too good for a move to handle, for the metagame to handle. So that's why I put it at number 2 that's why I put it on the list for metagame defining moves. Yeah, even if you think about it, I think in 2008, the world champion, or 2009 I believe, was using a Smeargle Bronzong setup with Snorlax and Metagross in the back. Imagine not having team preview and facing down a level 1 Smeargle with Dark Void Fake Out to follow me. And I don't remember what the last move was, but just imagine facing down such a team that could not be beaten so that it would become world champion and resulting in a Dark Void band for the upcoming few generations of Pokemon. Until it came back and then reached its peak again and had to be nerfed heavily. Anyway, now number 1. Can you already guess which move this one describes? It's a move that is also not learned by one Pokemon, it's learned by a lot of Pokemon, but one Pokemon made it so strong that I think it was very much metagame defining. Well, even the move isn't as metagame defining as the other ones, but I think the Pokemon that we are talking about, it made it such a metagame defining move. It's a power-up punch from Mega Kangaskhan. This move single-handedly made Mega Kangaskhan the threat of 2014, 2015 and even 2016. Well, 2016 less so, but it made it possible for Kangaskhan to sweep just through teams. We saw this very well in the beginning of 2014 where Megas were first introduced. Mega Kangaskhan took many regionals, took many Premier Challenges probably, and also even took the US Nationals. I don't remember what it... Oh yeah, and even German Nationals now that I think about it. Yeah. And yeah. What I wanted to say is that Power Up Punch is such a strong move on Mega Kangaskhan that they had to nerf Mega Kangaskhan, and they even removed Power Up Punch as a TM from the new upcoming games after the generation it was introduced. Just imagine you introduce a move solely for a Pokemon and then you have to take it out again because you notice it was a mistake. The Kraken has been released. The monster is unleashed. Yeah, that's how strong Power Up Punch is on Mega Kangaskhan. They had not only had to nerf or take out the move of the game out of the game, they had to nerf the Pokemon itself that uses it. Yeah, incredible, I think. So yeah, these were the 5 moves that I wanted to talk about today. A brief history lesson. I know it wasn't as in-depth as you could have imagined. I just wanted to kind of get this discussion starting, like what other metagame defining moves have you found in your career of playing Pokemon? Which move, I guess Thunder Wave is also really defining. Maybe I should really rather consider the Pokemon that are metagame defining. Maybe that will be an upcoming video, Pokemon that are metagame defining, but yeah. Anyway, I hope you had your fair share of fun, I hope you learned something. I know I had my fair share of fun. I hope I see you next time. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Oh yeah, and I forgot to say it. My name is Gadi. Please enjoy yourselves. Goodbye.